Welcome to On the Engine. This is season 3, episode 1. I have Chancellor Mike Reid, athletic director Michael Feuling, and foundation director Roxanne Engellant. We are excited to have you here today. We're going to be discussing the new sports and activity complex that's going to be coming soon. So I'll start with you, Chancellor Reid. I believe the capital campaign began about 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say about 4 years ago, definitely.
Can you explain what the goals are in the capital campaign and where the university is in the process?
Well, ultimately the capital campaign started, first and foremost, we knew we needed to raise at least, probably $4 million to be able to get a facility that we were hoping, be worthy of the Bulldogs. The first goal, though, was we needed to raise $2 million in cash in order to be able to secure the land that was generously put up there by John and Phyllis Erb. So, they offered us the acreage right next to the university, contingent on us being able to generate at least $2 million in cash, and then ultimately we'd need to fundraise the full amount. And so it's taken a few years, but we're excited. Earlier this spring, we reached that $2 million mark. And we've been working with the Erbs over the last several months to try to finalize the land and transfer that over to the University Foundation. And meanwhile, we continue to fundraise. And all of this is for the sports and activities complex. And the goal, minimally, we'd like to get at least $4 million. And we think that'll give us the facility that we're looking for. And if we can raise more than that, that gives us the opportunities to do even more, to be able to put different amenities and things on the field that will help support the high school and the community.
You've been the chancellor for 2 years now?
One and a half. Yeah.
Almost 2 years. Basically started in the middle of COVID. How did COVID impact the campaign, do you think?
Oh, man, I think honestly for 2 years we were just kind of stalled out. We really couldn't meet with people. You couldn't have events. You couldn't do those type of things. We had, I think, tremendous support from alum and donors, that were still working hard and trying to do some things. And the campaign continued to move forward. But I think if we didn't have the challenges of COVID, I think we probably would have reached our mark already.
So we have East Cornell that runs up, would be the northeast side of the campus. And then we have East Poindexter and there's really no through road. And we have a lack of parking. Can you guys speak to what having a whole bunch more parking because we're adding the stadium means to the students at Western, and having an access road that can get people through both sides?
I mean, that was obviously something that was talked about from the beginning, honestly, was from an emergency perspective, being able to get from one side of campus to the other. And parking is always an issue, I think, on every campus that you talk to anybody that they say that that's an issue on their campus. I will say that our facilities has done an excellent job of trying to create some additional spaces over the last couple of years. But as they work to put in the new wellness center and move that objective forward, I think it's going to be critical for additional parking for students to access that and not have to, potentially park a couple blocks away. Although a lot of campuses, a couple blocks is actually a close parking spot. But it'll be critical. It'll be critical for game day, and the one thing we love the most, and that's tailgating. We're going to need some space for tailgating. So.
Well, and I would add to that too. I think once we get all of this together, once the sports and activities complex is in place, the wellness center is in place, and we have that through road that connects those back areas. One, it does help with the parking. I mean, it'll be tremendous in providing additional parking for the campus. But the other thing it does is, obviously East Poindexter is a huge congested, throughway. It's one way, it's a dead end, and you've got cars coming in and getting stuck, and buses, and it's a mess. And with that back access road, that'll fix that and be able to really allow people to get into the BARC and the activity complex where we can participate.
Yeah, you wonder over the years how many vehicles have been hit by buses visiting buses trying to turn around.
We had one last year. Had one last year during women's and men's basketball. So
Well, and as we work like those tailgate and we look for the number of people that need handicap parking, I look for that to be a bonus as well, that we have additional handicap and opportunities for people to drop off individuals who need access. So it'll be amazing all the way around, honestly.
Michael.
Yeah.
Sports and Activity Complex, been planning for about 4 years. How does it feel to be getting this close?
It feels great, honestly. Just being able to be here for a fall season now and to be able to take in football in the pageantry that is Dillon on Bulldog game days. I think I said a few weeks ago that probably has the best tailgate that I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. But I think being able to bring that to campus, this is not going to just help student athletes. I think it's going to help the university as well, because now we have the opportunity to bring people to campus and have traditions and create traditions. You see it every week when you watch College Game Day, or you see these big things where they have, the walks and being able to have the things that mean so much on game day. And for us, it's tremendous. We're dealing with issues right now where the grass is not up to, playable shape. Sometimes the practice field gets attacked with gophers, and we're dealing with injuries and things of that nature. And so just to be able to have a place on campus that we can practice on each and every day, not having to worry about watering, the weather, things of that nature, just is very exciting. And I think it will help us in recruiting and, helping the student athletes that are coming in to be able to be a part of something new, be a part of a tradition, and continue on the legacy that the old dogs and, the teams in the past have already started.
Sure. And Roxanne and I both graduated from the same institution, so she's going to understand this one. In Helena, there was Vigilante Field, which was across town from Carroll College, and student participation at football games was not, it's kind of like here. Yeah. And now Carroll has an on-campus facility and students show up. Yeah. And I expect the exact same thing is going to happen for Western. It will keep students on campus. It's, what are you doing today? Well, I think I'm going to go across the street. I'm going to watch the game. Yeah. And
get them engaged.
Exactly.
Engaged, yeah.
And that's been something, as in the year of firsts for me. I'm coming up on the end of my year of first, but is trying to figure out a way to get students engaged. And, we tried with a student section, but, I think you're exactly right, Mark. It's across, it seems for most people it's a 5-minute quick drive, but it's that invisible barrier that you're trying to get at. And we've had student athletes ask, what do we have to do to bring our students in? And I think you're exactly right. Having it on campus, hopefully with the wellness center there as well, I think you're going to keep students on campus a lot more.
You bet.
So we've been really lucky to have a lot of local support, a lot of people who live here, been all over the project. But I'm curious, what's the support been like at the state level with the Board of Regents, University of Montana? Have they been really supportive over the?
I think there's been great support. They're certainly supportive of where we're going, what we're doing. As we've updated them and let them know what's going on, they're encouraging and supportive of that. They're, as far as the fundraising, we're obviously in the fundraising phase, and there's no state dollars that are going to be given to this, so we're not going to get money from UM, or we're not going to get money from the state or the regions, but they're fully supportive of the project. And ultimately, we're going to need to go to them with regards to receiving the property, transferring things to the foundation, being able to build the facility. All of those type of things can potentially be roadblocks, but they're fully aware and very supportive of what we're doing. So I don't anticipate any problems.
And I guess I should have clarified, I wasn't worried about dollars, but just they support us in doing the project. That's good.
Yeah, and I think again they see the same things that we all see: the benefit and the potential, the student experience. There's really not a downside to this that I can see.
Right.
And now we're the only institution that doesn't have an on-campus facility.
Right.
So it's a really, in my opinion, it's a really easy sell because I feel it's a disadvantage for recruiting purposes. I feel it's a disadvantage for student engagement, and then we know all the pluses from a community perspective. So, yeah, I think it's an easy sell to the Board of Regents.
How much funding have we raised, and how much remains to get to our goal?
So we're sitting just under 3.3 million, and like Chancellor Reid said, we need to get to 4 for sure for a game-ready facility, but we would like to press to 5. I have all the confidence in the world that we're going to get to 4, and to be honest with you, I have all the confidence in the world we're going to get to 5 too. I think that there's a lot of individuals who haven't had the opportunity to really hear our case, why it's such a important project for our campus and our community. So 4 for sure. So we've got at least $700,000 that we need to raise for game ready, and press to 5 to get some of those other amenities that we need to make it a special experience for our student athletes.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing now is as our 2 busiest weeks have kind of happened the last 2 weeks with Booster Bash and Hall of Fame and rodeo and several games and whatnot, but we're looking to get out, and we're looking to get out and meet people. Just this morning I reached out to a couple individuals, couple alumni, just to introduce myself, and businesses, and Roxanne's done a phenomenal job in balancing all the sorts of different things that she's had to have done on top of athletic fundraising. So looking forward to just getting out and seeing some people, meeting some people. I don't feel like I've nearly met enough in my almost a year here, and that's something that is a goal of mine for this upcoming year, to really get out and to meet and let's get this thing done.
Sure.
From a game day management standpoint, it's a lot of work having the games at Vigilante, and the amount of stuff that we have to haul over, chuck over, and just getting stuff
Right.
done would be is a big time goal. And we've had people asking about it, and it's just time we finally get it done and start on a path of more celebration than anything, to finally have this thing coming along and talking about the fun stuff.
Sure.
And there's no, we're not counting any of the in-kind towards that 3.3,
Exactly,
correct?
exactly.
So we're actually closer to that $4 million mark already.
Probably,
And when you think about it, I think a lot of people have maybe held a little to see, is this really going to happen? And we know it's really going to happen. And I think that that's what they need to hear now, is this is really going to happen. We're building a stadium. Now we need everybody to step up and be a part of it, whether it's $50 or $500 or $5,000 or $50,000, whatever. Every dime is going to make a difference in this facility. And I think that was one of the things when you had asked us about coming, is that message gets out loud and clear, is that this project is going to happen. Now it's just a matter of, what's it going to look like, and who's going to be a part of the victory lap with us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Roxanne, this question's going to be geared to you, because your department is kind of the spearhead of the overall campaign. And in reality, the sports and activity complex is only a part of the total capital campaign. How do you wrap your arms around all of that, in addition to the other foundation functions that you perform?
I think that Montana Western was just primed for this opportunity, and we will publicly launch the full campaign here in January. We'll have a gala event, and we'll release final goals and where we're at. But I think we were poised perfectly. Experience One has been around for what now?
This is our 20th
20th year.
Yeah.
The results are extraordinary. Our students, well, first of all, enrollment has been, obviously that was a big deal for us to convert to Experience One and watch our enrollment increase. Our retention is fantastic. Our completion is fantastic. We were at the perfect time to tell our story and to garner support. Sure. And I think, honestly, as I continue to have conversations and Chancellor continues to have conversations, people are excited about what's happening at Montana Western, and what our students are doing, what our students are going off into the world to do, and the impact that they can have. dollar goes a long ways at Montana Western. So it was the perfect opportunity, and the Sports and Activity Complex was just a great way to lead those efforts.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we know that this new facility is going to be great for football, the youth challenge, and all those things. Have you guys thought about all the other events or things that Western can, whether it becomes a way for Western to generate income or just community opportunities? Have you guys thought about what are those other events or?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones, and Roxanne touched on it, and with the enrollment going, is graduation. This past year, we're growing out of the Stroud Gymnasium and trying to balance two locations for a graduation just is not the experience we want for our graduates, their family. I kind of, when I looked at the setup, the very first time I went to Chancellor Reid and Roxanne and I said, we need to get this stadium done because we can't fit any more people into this. And, Montana does it, rain, snow, shine, whatever, they do it. We have been in talks with the Dillon JCs, for games where, away games, they're flag football, concerts. We talked with Montana Youth Challenge as well to be able to help, because right now they're running around in our tundra area, and we love having them there. But at times when it's muddy and wet, it kind of messes up the tundra a little bit, messes up your visual appeal. But just being able to get there too. And I think the other part as well that I thought about just the other day was, conditioning for our other sports, being able to, for track and field, to stride out on a turf where it's better for your knees, better for your joints, basketball to get some conditioning out there. For us, it's just, we view it as a way to bring the community to campus. And that's one of the big things I've been harping on is bringing community to campus, whether it's revenue generating or whatever it might be. We need to show that we want to be good community partners. We want to work with people, and it opens up a lot of opportunities, and some that we probably won't think about until it actually happens. But we're excited about the possibilities that are out there.
I mean, I think even like all-star football games that we haven't ever been able to bid for. And I believe that the state football games are going to a neutral site at some point. Is that true?
I believe within the next 5 years.
Within the next 5 years, yeah. So how wonderful would it be to have a state football tournament or championship? And you think about that, all of those students you're bringing to campus that are potential students of ours. So that opportunity, in addition to the high school, and every time they have a home football game, all of those students that are coming to campus, I mean, it's just a recruiting opportunity that we do not have right now.
And I think about the state basketball or the basketball tournament the district won this past year, and just talking with the business owners and places were packed, and that helps the economy and helps, especially coming off of COVID, where people are still struggling to stay open and still struggling to, we want to support local, and I think it's just the sky's the limit.
In full disclosure, Keith and I are both on the committee to help raise funds for the stadium. So, yeah, this is working out good for us. We talk to a lot of businesses for corporate sponsorships, and that's where we are in the campaign. So, what about naming opportunities? What is left for those? Can you speak to that, or?
Well, I'd say we're still more than happy to have a donor that would like to contribute substantially enough to name the stadium after them, or in gift to somebody else. We can accommodate a lot, but so no, there have been some naming opportunities that have already been taken advantage of, but the overall stadium itself still has not been named, and there's plenty of other opportunities if people would want to explore and look at opportunities to have some naming rights to the facility or parts of the facility.
Yeah. Well, and the field is still an opportunity as well, because John and Phyllis Erb they did not want, anything named after them, even though we'd love to name it the herb field. They chose not to. And so at this point, there is the opportunity still for the field and several other significant.
And I think the great part now with the way college sports has evolved with name, image, and likeness and rules loosening and getting, I think this is our perfect time to get creative and find ways. If businesses are out there and they don't want the typical sideline signage, let's see what else we can do. I think this is the perfect opportunity. We're seeing more and more stadiums head this route, and I personally find it fun. I think it will set us apart in the Frontier Conference. And again, I think going and helping the game day atmosphere as well.
I know that we meet with a lot of people. A lot of people come to campus. We travel to Bozeman, Billings, Missoula, and we talk to a lot of people. Why don't you guys talk about, to the people who don't understand, I'm sure there's a way you can just get online, go somewhere, and make a donation online without having to maybe speak to how that works.
So the UMWfoundation.org, there is a tab that's specifically for the Sports and Activities Complex. It has a gift meter, so it's showing exactly where we're at in our fundraised goal, as well as the opportunity for all the naming levels. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see all the individuals who've already put their gift forward. You'll see all the levels from the 5,000 to the 25,000 to the 100,000. So you just go to umwfoundation.org, and there's a tab that says Sports and Activities Complex, and it'll take you right to that. It also tells a little bit about the need. I had somebody recently tell me they went out to that, and we have a little rolling image of all the facilities in the conference. It's really eye-opening when you start looking at the facilities in the conference, and then it takes you back to a few images of our facility. It in itself.
Is there outhouses in the other facilities?
No, there are no outhouses. I actually had a donor the other day specifically comment that they weren't entirely sure why we needed it, and they looked at those images and they said, "Yeah, we get it now. Right. It's a night and day difference." Yeah, so thank you for asking that. They can always call. They can call Michael directly, and they can call myself. Well, they can call Chancellor Reid directly, because his phone is always open too. So we'd love to have a conversation.
So along those same lines, is there a plan to solicit donations? I mean, like send out a mailer to, the 4,000 or 5,000 athletes that have graduated over the years and ask for $50 a month or $600 a year? Or...
Yeah, we actually sent out a mailer in March to 11,000 of our constituents, alumni and friends of the university, and we'll probably plan to do that again. We got an incredible response, and we did receive gifts from former athletes that weren't just football players. We received gifts from basketball players and some. Trying to think if we, maybe even a couple wrestlers, a couple previous wrestlers. And so, we'll probably do that again as we get to the final end of the campaign, really just to top it off. But the response was pretty fantastic the first time. And like today, just as an example, I had a gentleman who originally came in. He's a 86-year-old alum of ours who played football. He originally came in at $500, and his wife had that material in front of her, and she said, "You know what, my husband's name needs to be up on that wall. I want to give $5,000 so his name can be on that wall." I said, "That's perfect, Judy. Here's how you can do it, and his name's going to be on the wall," because he had that material right in front of him and saw that opportunity. So it was pretty cool.
And one of the things too, to kind of go off of that, we've kind of done a soft launch of a varsity club to reach out to some alumni that, or maybe recent grads or some individuals that may not have the means or resources right away to donate or make some big gifts. And quite frankly, I've always been a believer that I don't want my first interaction with a donor or an alum to be asking for money if they haven't been talked to, or if we haven't updated their information. When I took this job, I kept hearing about the community and the strength and the support of everyone involved, and so that's kind of another way to try to help get everyone to be able to participate in a way that they feel appropriate, and we're going to continue to build that as the years go on, and we expect that I fully expect that to grow each year, and then that's also the core group that we can get back for when we do open the stadium, and for when there are other projects or needs that are needed, that we can rely on those individuals, because quite frankly, your alumni know what it's like to have to travel down to Vigilante and to play on that surface, and just the different stuff that student athletes have to go through. You know, we're not the big, rich, fancy schools where, you have the state-of-the-art stuff, but I envision that happening, and that's one of those things where with their help, we can definitely do it.
Sure. We're going to wrap up here. Michael, you can't be part of this because we've already interviewed you and I asked these questions of you before. So I just need some quick responses from you, Chancellor Reid. What's your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food, lasagna.
How about music?
Country.
Outdoor activity?
Fly fishing.
All right.
I do have to add one other piece. Lasagna is my favorite food. Absolute favorite dessert's gelato. I have to throw that out there. So.
You kind of make that.
Well, I make it's my passion and hobby, but I don't consider it a food. It's a treat. So you didn't ask that specific question, but gelato.
Okay. That's nice. Roxanne?
Oh gosh.
Fave food?
And I say anything Keith cooks. No, I don't know. I mean, I obviously a good steak. How do you not be from Montana and love a good steak?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite music?
I'd say country.
All right. Outdoor activity?
Hiking.
Right.
And I do just want to add in back to the stadium really quick. One of the conversation that the three of us have had before, when you're building the stadium, you get all these ideas. Well, we want reserved seats. We want all this. I think the number one thing we have all agreed is that we want one heck of a tailgating atmosphere. We want, Engine 18 at the forefront. In fact, that is going into our design plans. We basically, I think the conversation a few weeks ago was, well, how does that impact tailgating? So we need to be able to have this, but that's one of those things that we truly do want to carry over, is that special, unique aspect of tailgating, the legacy of Engine 18, that continue to be at the forefront of what we do, because it does mean so much to the Bulldog athletic department. So I just wanted to get that in there. Sure. But
thank you.
We're looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to it.
Yes. Yes.
You bet.
We're not going to be here forever, and you want to leave it better than you found it.